Hello, everyone, and welcome to another English with Joseph. Well, today I'd like to talk to you about the subject of Ramadan. Now, you might think that's a little bit of a strange subject for an English teacher who lives in Barcelona to be talking about. However, I think it's important that we have this discussion. And it's important because I'm getting tangled up here. I have two headsets and I'm getting tangled between which one I should be wearing, but I'm sure it's this one. To talk about Ramadan is important because really Britain now is a very, very diverse country. And if you think that Britain is full of white people wearing suits and hats, you know, the way the British stereotype is the hat and the suit, then you're very wrong. Because Islam and Asian people are a huge part of British society now, okay? So I want to begin by saying Happy Ramadan to all of the people who are watching this in the UK and all over the world. And I also want to say that if you're planning to come to Britain, you must be ready to see the diversity which is Britain. We have people of all shapes and sizes, of all colours, of all sexuality, of all religions, and of all faiths. Now, I know I'm starting to sound like a 1970s hippie record or CD, but I really have to tell you this because as an internet teacher, I have a privilege. I get to talk to people from all over the world. And many people ask me the same question. And they always say, I love Britain. I love British people. But I don't understand why they let so many immigrants in. Well, maybe I could ask, well, if you love British people and you love Britain and you plan to go and live there, then you also will be an immigrant. So maybe it's not quite as simple as it sounds, you know. I can't say that I agree with Britain's policies on immigration. I don't. But what I can tell you is there are people now who are born in the UK who are different from me. These people may have a different religion, they may have a different philosophy for living, and they may have a different idea. It doesn't mean that they've came from another country, it just means that maybe their parents have. Or it even means that perhaps at some other time in their life, their families moved to Britain. There's lots of people in Britain of all types, and they're all classed as being British. Okay, maybe they don't look like me, maybe they're dark. The current mayor of London is Asian. Now, the American media always tends to demonize Islam. It always says, oh, Islam's very bad and all these things. But really, it's because it's something that they've never been used to. They don't know tolerance because they've never had a war. They've never been invaded. America is the way it is because they really haven't seen the dark side and the dangers of discrimination. Britain has. If we think of France and Belgium and the Netherlands, countries which were occupied by Germany during the war, you know, based on skin colour. This is something terrible. But I'm pleased to say that at least Europe has moved on, and we welcome and we tolerate people of all nationalities. And even if we didn't tolerate people of other nationalities, I really hope we would still tolerate people of different religions. Which brings me back to my point about Ramadan. Ramadan is a fantastic time because you get to taste some beautiful food. And I have some very dear friends who celebrate Ramadan. They can't eat during the day, and they eat at night. And it's beautiful because they sometimes invite me for dinner. And and they have some lovely dishes. So if you have a friend who is Muslim, why don't you ask him what he's going to eat for Ramadan? What special dishes are on the menu? Because there's always some lovely food, and who knows, maybe he or she will invite you to have dinner, because, Arabs and Asians are much more welcoming than British people are, because they love food and they love to share food, I think you'd be very surprised if you gave them a chance. Well, that's what I wanted to say about Ramadan. So, if you're planning to come to Britain, please don't get off the aeroplane and be surprised when suddenly you're greeted by all these brown faces, because Heathrow Airport is a place where many Asians work, because that whole area is dominated mainly by our Asian communities. Why? Well, I don't know. Maybe when they immigrated, they didn't move so very far from the airport. But there's many Asian people work at the airport, and so you might get a shock. I remember the first time I travelled to Norway, I thought Norwegian people were always going to be white like me. And I got to Oslo, and everyone seemed to be Arab or Asian or Iranian. And I thought, ooh, that's very strange for such a small country. And it's the same in Britain. But diversity is wonderful, and it has to be celebrated because, well, really it's the only thing that we all have in common, is that we're different from each other, So, I know we all have our views, but if you're planning to come and live in Britain, if you're planning to have a British experience, to be British today means turban, cap, maybe a suit, maybe white skin, maybe dark skin. It could be anything. It could be absolutely anything. And this is the joy of living in a democratic society. Yes, I know there's a dark side to that and a downside as well. And there's many things about British life that I don't like. But I just wanted to say to everyone here, happy Ramadan. Enjoy. Bye-bye.